Last time you were here was March 9, and that was really very close to what I think we all remember as the peak of the pandemic, at least in our region. How have things changed since then?
Well, things have definitely slowed down, Tyler. Since then, we're not seeing quite the volume that's there. The treatment patterns have changed. The outcomes have improved significantly. We're still fairly full, but it's a very different cadence and a very different influx of cases coming in.
The ER is not as sort of overrun as it was, I assume?
Exactly. Much calmer, much easier flow. We're still testing people, not near about a quarter of the volume we did at the peak. Many of those are going home under home follow-up. The ones who are sick enough come into the ER and then transition out very quickly because we've had so many other discharges. In the beginning, they were coming in and staying. And so it created a capacity constraint. We don't have that so much now.
So you say, implicit in what you say there, people are getting better, people are leaving. What are your people telling you about what you've learned about treating this illness? What's working and making people recover? What have we learned there?
Well, it's a great question. So there are multiple curves around this, and we talk often about the volume curve and flattening of that curve, and we see it in northern New Jersey. But again, caution, cases overall in New Jersey and around the country are still going up, so we have to be very careful. Northern New Jersey, the epicenter, that's flattening. The response curve, we're still pretty low down. And then the learning curve, we are only in the very beginning. There's so much more we don't know about this virus than what we do know. We have to be very, very careful. And that's what has the industry very nervous about what happens next, because we're early on in the learning stages.
We've just heard from Purdue University and from Montclair State, closer to your neck of the woods, who sound like they're open to having students come back to campus in the fall. And my guess is they're not alone. I mean, there's going to be, the financial conditions is going to call for a lot of colleges to reopen their doors. So Are you worried about what's going to happen in that case? Or do you think it would be not so much about the immediate effect of students going to campus, but maybe once they then return home for breaks, if they are going on trips and so forth?
Right. Yes, I do worry about that. I think when we start to reopen, we have to do it sector by sector. There are certain sectors that I think can adapt very well. They have to be creative and innovative to a new norm of using technology, and education is one of them. So distance learning, using the internet is proven to be a more valuable resource than we previously gave or attributed to be. And so I would really encourage all education to start to pursue that more. Students may not be as affected, and I caution that as well. We've had 19-year-olds here on ventilators, and so when you see that, it's alarming. So young people can get the virus, but more importantly, they can be carriers of the virus. And so anybody that they come in contact with is at risk. And so the same precautions, the same distancing, the same hand washing and personal hygiene applies there even more so. And so it's a very dangerous group. I get the pressure on the schools, but hopefully they can work out an economic model around new norms. And I do think that that is one of the mantras that's getting downplayed. As we come out of this, everybody wants to return to the way things were. I don't know that that's ever going to happen. It's going to be a new norm, somewhat between where we are and where we were, but not definitely going back fully to where we were.
Let me conclude, Mr. Maron, with a question about testing. It seems to me, and this is my opinion, and you don't have to agree with it, that there's been a lot of pressure to increase the number of people who are tested, and that it is a very important component in learning about the spread of the disease. But there are a couple of things that concern me here. Number one is that the tests are new and they're not flawless. There are a lot of false negatives that attend to these tests, I believe, maybe even 20%. And the second thing is that the test measures the individual at a particular point in time on a particular day. That person could be negative today and positive 2 days from now, and you get a very different look. Could you react?
Yes, I agree with you 100%, Tyler. Testing, what people is being way overplayed. The main purpose of testing today, the only purpose, is for the healthcare professionals, the physicians and the scientists, to move themselves up that learning curve. There is really no public benefit or security to it at all. And now it's complicated because we're talking about two different tests. There is a PCR test, which is basically a DNA RNA test, which is at the moment of symptoms and to prove that you have it. Now there's also this escalation in antibody testing, and that basically shows that you probably had the virus, you've built up antibodies. But we don't know how long those antibodies last. We don't know the effectiveness of those antibodies. Do they really protect you from being reinfected? Those are all unanswered questions at this point. And so we got to be very, very careful. I'll use my own son, who is as you know, most people know, I had the virus. I infected, sadly, most of my family. My oldest son tested negative 4 times because I didn't believe the tests because he was so symptomatic. He had every symptom I had. So on the PCR, he was negative. On the antibodies, he was positive. And so, but again, all that tells us—
Very interesting.
Yeah, so it tells us about the testing. He should not change his behavior at all. He should be safe. He should be socially distancing. It doesn't change anything about his lifestyle at all.